For those of you who enjoy driving videos, I am in the process of uploading quite a series of driving videos. I'm going to try and make them a little bit shorter videos, so I might break the trip up more than I want. I'm going to try and keep them all about half an hour at the most, and yeah, I'll try and find a natural breaking point in them. So the reason I'm making this is, first of all, I discovered I have 3 on my hard drive I need to get off there so I have more room. I just have to get them off. So I uploaded one today. Boring one. It's just a drive to Dickinson from back in April. And yeah, working on it. So this here is a drive to Dickinson. I'll tell you the route. And I'll tell you a little bit about the plans. And then we'll see where we're left. This one's only going to be about a 15-minute video. But oh well. All right. So what I did is I headed west on Highway 12. Got to the city of Marmarth. Just past Marmarth, there is a highway that goes north. Now, it's an unpaved highway. It's a very primitive highway, actually. It used to have 2 low water crossings. It's called Highway 16, and yes, you have seen a video of that before. Headed up Highway 16, but remember how before I turned and headed toward, where was I going? Baker, I guess. I didn't do that this time. I continued north on 16 all the way to Beach, which is a city right on Interstate 94. Now, I could have taken the interstate east, but I went the back way. Now, I'll have to look up the number on the road. I don't recall it right now. I think it's Highway 10, but like I said, I'm going to have to look that up when I film that part of the video. I headed west anyway, or east, sorry, on whatever highway it is, to Sentinel Butte, which I have a few things to say about Sentinel Butte when I get there. And then continued on the highway all the way until it ends, and you're forced to get on the interstate for a brief amount of time. And then I went to Medora, and you've seen well, I haven't uploaded it yet, but I have an East River Road video. It's one of the 3 I need to upload. I usually turn off onto the East River Road after I go through Medora. I didn't. I kept going. The road actually says I'm headed toward Freiburg, but I didn't go to Freiburg. Freiburg really isn't that interesting. Sorry if you live there, but it's not. So instead what I did is I went through where there's these fossilized cypress stones. And I got out of the car and did some on-the-ground footage of the cypress stumps with my iPad, because I just decided to use my iPad because it was easy. And then instead of going to Freiburg, I turned and went to the Painted Canyon. Now there's a video, I think it's the East River Road video where I mention the Painted Canyon, but I don't actually stop. So I stopped at this one. Excuse me. Now, what I didn't know was I was having trouble with my laptop, or my dash cam. Somehow the card in it became not formatted. So I had a bugger of a time getting the video off. In fact, I only got about 2/3 of the video off, so there are some holes in this trip. And one of the holes happens right at the Painted Canyon. I parked at the Painted Canyon, so dash cam turns off, walked around with the iPad, took pictures and so on, got back in the car, drove to Dickinson on the, well, let's see, on the kind of a combination of interstate and that other highway I was talking about. And I only got a tiny piece of that. I mean, I drove around South Hart. I don't think any of that survived. Now, not that South Hart's all that interesting either, but, I took the time, and it'd be nice to have it. But none of my in Dickinson survived. And then, I was going to go home. I didn't know I had all this trouble yet. But I thought, you know what? Why don't I take the scenic route home? I have not been down the Enchanted Highway in years. So I headed west to Gladstone and went south there. Now, I stopped right at that exit because it's called the Enchanted Highway because it has a lot of art. And there's a big piece of art. If you travel Interstate 94, you will know what I'm talking about. It's called Geese in Flight. And so I took some footage there with the iPad. Excuse me. And then I got back in the car, drove down the Enchanted Highway to Regent, and then home. I was able to recover from when I started the car at the Geese in Flight art installation, and I was able to recover it all the way down to Regent and a little past Regent. And I turned west. Well, the sun was setting, and yes, I was able to recover more of that video. But the trouble with that video is with the setting sun, the exposure on the dash cam was all out of whack. So I decided, you know what? I'm not going to see anything. The only reason to watch that part of the footage would be to listen to me babble, because you just can't see much. And look how I look right now. I have a kitchen behind me. You can barely see it because of the bright window here. I look like one of those Star Trek monsters with a half white face, half black face. It's a thing with cameras. You can correct it with lights, with manual exposure, and so on. But it was a dash cam, and yeah, it's a nice drive. It's nothing spectacular, but it is nice. So yeah. So I lost some footage. The other interesting thing is the date that's on all this footage is March 13th, which by a weird coincidence is my mother's birthday. But this footage was not filmed on March 13th. It was filmed on August 5th. So, and you can see the country is greening up a little. If I would have filmed this about not a month before this, just a few weeks before this, everything was brown. So that's nice to see. We've needed rain, although it meant I had to drag out my lawnmower after it sat for a month. And I hate mowing my lawn, so by the way, we just passed the city of Rain there. I know I've toured it in one of my videos. I don't remember which video it is, but I seem to be amassing a collection of these videos. Anyway, on a totally side note, for lunch today, I was cooking buckwheat. Now, I don't have buckwheat out, but what I've been doing, I won't show you the brand so I don't get trouble for advertising. But I've been buying, when I go to Dickinson, I've been buying these exotic grains. Like I'm holding farro in my hands right now. It's kind of hard to get a lot of this stuff in my little small town, so I buy it when I get up there. And then I just look for things I can do with it. This buckwheat, I'll tell you how I cooked it. I took 4 slices of bacon, diced them up really small, fried them, and then set them on a paper towel to drain. Kept about a tablespoon of the bacon grease in there, fried onions in it. Then I chopped up mushrooms. 8 ounces of mushrooms. The recipe said to use dried mushrooms, but I don't know. I haven't seen any dried mushrooms here in this town, and didn't think of it when I was in Dickinson. So I thought, well, fresh is better anyway. So I went with fresh mushrooms, diced them, and a cup and a half of buckwheat. Stirred it all around for a few minutes till the buckwheat started smelling all buckwheaty. And then I added, what was the recipe? 2 tablespoons butter. And then I mixed in 2 3/4 cup of boiling water. And just let her rip. Simmering on low. And I'll tell you, it's good. Probably too much animal fat or something, but it's good. I will be making that recipe again, and I think this winter that'll be a good one to feed people. It's relatively low cost. I don't know exactly how healthy, but it's not the most unhealthy thing either. Buckwheat is an interesting. It's not really a grain even. It's sort of related to rhubarb. I don't recall off the top of my head exactly how, but doesn't matter. Buckwheat also makes a good breakfast. I have some buckwheat flour this winter. I want to experiment maybe making buckwheat something with it. I don't know. Wait to your left there. I wish I'd thought to stop. Sunflowers in bloom. I love the sight of the field of sunflowers in bloom. Even though you've got this big mass monocrop, which is what they do in North Dakota, it still looks really pretty. Another one that's really pretty is a field of flax in bloom. It almost looks like a lake, especially if the wind is blowing just a little bit and the little blue flowers are shimmering. That's pretty. I've heard buckwheat doesn't look like much, and it smells awful when it's in bloom. Buckwheat honey is kind of interesting if you've ever had that. It looks like tar, and it definitely has a much stronger flavor than the typical honey you buy in those little bears in the store. Anyway, I'm headed now into Marmarth. We're not to Marmarth yet. I'm going to head down the hill here into the Badlands. Now, this is where I wish I had a better dash cam. It is really beautiful scenery. But then I think, if I want to mimic the way a camera looks at the world and cover one eye, and then you just about have to do this because you realize my eyes have a bigger field of view, first of all, than a camera, although I guess you can put a wide-angle lens on it, then you'll have this problem. But also, my eyes dart around. We don't always realize they're doing it. They do. So this looks so much more impressive in person. But this is the best I can do. And for a lot of people, this is their only exposure in North Dakota because most people don't visit North Dakota. It's known as the least visited state in the nation. Oil boom changed that. See, that's Badlands, so you can't really tell. The oil boom changed that for a while, but it's back to the way it was, except a lot more oil stuff around. And some towns with a lot of struggling businesses now, and empty buildings. I'm happy to say my town took a hit when oil went down, but not like Dickinson or Williston or Watford City did. So all in all, it's a wash here. We got some good while we had the extra people and business and money, and so I just was driving by. And now we're just back to, So anyway, while I'm on this video, I want to talk about a couple of things. I don't know if I'll be sharing more recipes. I don't know why I got onto it, except I just ate it and it was good. And it's enough of it, I'll have lots of leftovers. So I'll be eating it again for supper, lunch, and probably another supper yet. And I probably won't do seconds the other times. I took seconds just because, is it really that good? You're not supposed to do that, but I do. I'll probably make something vegetably to go with it, because I have a whole garden of vegetables, but not broccoli. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll use broccoli, but what's really cool is I have a head of purple cauliflower. I want to do something with that. This now somebody's turned down my alley in a vehicle I don't recognize. Why am I nosy? It's a little gossip or something. Anyway, I have a head of purple cauliflower, and I'm trying to figure out a recipe I can use that with. It'll show off its purple caulifloweriness. I have a little while yet before I have to figure it out, so I'll do some looking. And by the time you watch this video, I forgot to turn off my sound. By the time you watch this video, of course, it will have been picked and the recipe will have been made. But if you have suggestions, go ahead. But it's too late for that head of cauliflower, so I'll have to wait till next summer to try it. Because I have never in my life have I ever seen purple cauliflower for sale in the store. Now, I know it is a thing. I've seen it in recipes, and you Google purple cauliflower recipes, and there's a lot of them. But I've never seen it for sale, even in the city. So I don't know what that means. It is what it is. I have a lot more broccoli out there. The nice thing with broccoli is you get that one big head, but then the rest of the summer you get all kinds of florets. That's the Marmarth school there, by the way. But you get all these neat little florets, and so you can keep eating broccoli off that same plant all summer. Cauliflower, after you harvest it, you're done. It doesn't make more florets. So then you have a big hole in the garden, which I wish I'd thought of that when I planted the cauliflower out front, because the package said decorative cauliflower. I'm like, oh, that'll be cool for the front yard. Well, now I'm down to 2 heads of decorative cauliflower left and just a lot of bare, empty places. So I don't know, maybe I'll plant some radishes or something. Radishes grow in a quick amount of time. There'll at least be something green out there. And bonus, they kind of keep the soil loose. I guess that's not the bonus, but you can make pickled radishes with them too. So you take the radishes, you mix them with some sugar and some peppercorns and some vinegar, white vinegar, I think, and then onion slices. And you slice the radishes really super thin, like I slice them 1/16 of an inch thick. And anyway, then it sits in the refrigerator in a crock for like 3 days or so, and then it's ready. It was really good on hamburgers. I think spectacular good on hamburgers. It's kind of like pickles, only different. Something to do. So that was Marmarth. Um, we're going to come up here. You'll see where I turn to go north on Highway 16. And then I'll just stop it. And yeah, we're going over the railroad here right now. Marmarth used to be a big railroad town. I have. I should have told you about some people I know. They used to lead cattle drives down to Marmarth, and then they would load the cattle onto the trains in Marmarth. There used to be a switching yard. There used to be a roundhouse, all kinds of stuff. And then progress happened, and it just sort of died down to what it is now. So I'm going to pause this, or not pause, I'm going to stop this video now. I hope that was at least moderately interesting. This is a preview of what's to come in the next video. We'll see you later.